It's crazy, man. It's crazy that it happened to be John Jones, a person who unfortunately has had a very up and down career. The last few years, it's been crazy for him, and the fact that this was the main event of UFC 200, the biggest event in UFC history, and the fact that it's off now is it must be heartbreaking for everyone involved, and obviously for the UFC organization, but for Daniel Cormier, who was getting ready. He's in the midst of cutting weight, getting ready for this big fight, and as a fighter, when you've had such an intense fight camp and you're cutting weight, fight week, it must have thrown for a loop.
Especially because this is so personal between these two guys, and this was his shot, rematch with Jones. And you go through all the training, like you said, everything. You go through the press conference today. You're all fired up. You're a couple days away. Your whole family's in Vegas, and then boom, that's all over because apparently, allegedly, what John Jones has done.
It's the biggest fight of Daniel's career, and it's arguably the biggest payday of his career. So to see that go away, to see that kind of fly away, must be an awful feeling. There's some talk that they're trying to find another opponent for him, but it's still not the same. You were getting ready for John Jones, the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet, and it's hard to replace that feeling of getting ready for a fight. And, people are probably saying, look, why is Brock and Mark Hunt going to headline this thing when you have, Misha Tate and Amanda Nunes, and you have Frankie Edgar and Jose Aldo? Well, unbelievable fights. But the reality is Brock Lesnar is a huge name, a guy who's going to bring in a lot of pay-per-views. I don't know if it's going to do the same amount now that Cormier and Jones are off the card, but you still have a phenomenal main event. You still have two guys that bring it. They're going to bring a lot of excitement. Two heavy guys, and there's no way this fight goes the distance. If it does, it's going to be a classic.
You talked about it earlier a little bit, but the payday Daniel Cormier came in, that is a big thing.
Millions of dollars that he was probably set to make, and obviously there's your base salary, but then there's the money that you make off the pay-per-view revenue. And fighting against a huge name, a former champion like John Jones, or interim champion, I guess, like John Jones, would have brought in a huge payday for him, the biggest of his career. And millions were lost. There's no doubt about it. So I feel so bad for Daniel. I don't even know what to say. So
you're pretty close with DC. You know him pretty well.
Yeah, I hit him up. He hasn't responded. I just texted him. I'm sure he's being hit up by everybody from all angles and still trying to figure out what he's going to do this weekend. So obviously he deserves that time away, and I don't expect a response anytime soon. But I just told him I'm so sorry about the news, and I feel for him, but stay ready.
What do you hope happens for DC out of all this?
I hope he's able to compete at the very least. Going through a whole fight camp, a brutal fight camp, like he has.
To have it end with nothing.
It's the worst thing in the world. It's never happened to me, but to put in all that work, all the hours of work, and then cutting the weight and working so hard day in and day out, and then the nutrition and losing the weight. It's a miserable feeling hearing that you don't have that opponent you're going to prepare for, especially with these kind of stakes. This isn't just another fight. This is a championship fight at UFC 200 against pound for pound the best fighter on the planet, and against a guy who beat you before. So I can't even wrap my head around that.